listening to The Stephen Tauriello Show, building a platform of liberty for people in search of truth with a dash of hope and a life worth living. The Stephen Tauriello Show. And you never know where Stephen may go. And now, here's Stephen.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. We got a whole lot of stuff to get to. As always, I'm going to try and squeeze it all in 1 hour. We're going to go ahead and do another live show again because I am running out of time here.
We'll do it live. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So I want the show, it's going to be surrounded by one particular audio clip that I have. It's about 6 minutes long, but we're going to stop in between and do some fact checking. It's Nancy Mase going against the Pravda anchor on CNN or MSNBC. I don't know who she is, but it got so bad that they actually cut her off and said that they were having audio problems. And I kept that in the audio so you guys can hear it. So the reason why Democrats are happy Trump goes to prison is because they don't understand the importance of truth. So these are the same people that believe it's okay to sexualize children. They believe politicians aren't breaking laws. They believe Joe Biden has never broke the law. They believe there's no bureaucracy in our government, no deep state. They believe no other president has ever took classified documents. They believe Joe Biden would make a better president. And they are just consumed with emotion in every decision they make. And when you have people that fear their fellow American more than they do totalitarianism, then you know that these people are not coming from any place of truth. And honestly, I was thinking about this today. It's almost as if a mass portion of our population they don't know what evil is. So they don't understand totalitarianism. They don't understand what a dictatorship is. They don't understand what a banana republic is because they've never lived through it. And I've been saying this from the beginning of my show. The American people have had it so good for so long that they essentially just have to create problems out of thin air. They have to create problems to get upset about. And I think the main reason why Democrats are the way that they are, and I'm not saying Democrats like your moderates, like, you know, your JFK Democrats, the old school Democrats. I'm talking your leftist Democrats. Okay, the reason why they are the way that they are is they're trying to fill this void in their life. They wake up every morning and they want to make their life meaningful. They want to give their life purpose. And the way that they can do that easily is by destroying stuff. So the left exists only to destroy. You'll notice this. I'm serious. Go down the list. You know, BLM, Antifa, the rioting and looting, the destruction of the court system, the destruction of the justice system, the destruction of the schools. Go down the list, folks. They are designed that they don't believe in anything. They believe in destroying. So the things that have been destroyed, look at just in the past 8 years. Look at the past 8 years. And I have to say, if I were to put a timeline to when all this craziness started, is 2016 election, when Democrats could not accept that Donald Trump won the election. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. I think I seen a Michael Moore a Michael Moore video where he was explaining this to the crowd, is that 2016, they had Hillary Clinton 99% guaranteed to win against Donald Trump. And you guys have seen the videos of them crying and screaming and flipping off the cameras. This was essentially what broke them. That moment right there, that moment in time, was the time that these people lost their minds. And so the next 4 years was nothing but vengeance. And you guys remember this. Jamie Raskin said he was going to impeach the president before he was even inaugurated. You guys remember this. You had Rashida Tlaib and Omar walking down the hallway saying that they're going to impeach Donald Trump. This was before the guy even did anything wrong. And so this is when all this madness started, this get Trump attitude, whatever this is. And I'm still trying to dig into, I'm still doing research on societal psychology. I want to know, what is the psychology of a mass society to where they all believe the same thing. Like, they all believe in this doublethink, which is that Donald Trump is Hitler, Donald Trump is bad. What makes them believe this? And then all of them believe the same thing, like it's some kind of fad. But it, like fidget spinners is like the only thing I can really think of that it compares to. Like fidget spinners, they came, they went, and it was just a fad that swept the entire country. And so you have to know that leftists are only here to destroy. They build nothing. And that is a big separation between Republicans and Democrats. Okay, Republicans, we want to build. And that we want to build, but we have to try and conserve what we have already. And then you look at the left, and they want to tear down statues. They want to erase history. They want to get rid of the filibuster. They want to get rid of the Electoral College. They want to stack the courts. They hate the Constitution. They want to rewrite it. They think it's too old. Like I said, they just destroy. They live only to destroy because destroying is easier than building, folks. Okay? And so, as conservatives, they want to conserve. They want to preserve what we have already and then build off of that. But the left is the opposite. And of course, you know, the left always prefers the easy way. Like I said, it's easier to destroy than build. So what made me think of all this, I had like a deep thought today. All day I was in like this deep thought about the psyche of mass portions of populations, like what makes people fall into these societal contagions, these societal trends. And I started thinking like what really kicked it off was the transgender flag at the South Lawn. Like, is this really where our country is going to, folks? Like, is this really what Democrats want for America? Is a bunch of dudes shaking their tits on the South Lawn at the White House? And not only that, but you have the transgender flag center point, flanked by two American flags. Like, a complete violation of the flag code. You know, that is our house, folks. And you have dudes on the South Lawn shaking their tits. And then when the press secretaries ask about this, it's like, what, essentially, she was asked, like, what were you thinking? Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this is the America they want? This is what they want for us? If this is the America they want, folks, if this is progress to them, then we need a serious intervention of what progress looks like. Because this is not progress. This is not the America people should want. Not just certain types of people. Nobody should want this for a country. You have a country that is in massive decline. We are a plane that is on fire, spiraling downwards to the ground. And you essentially have the White House, this administration, taking the plane apart as it's falling. You have one side trying to put the plane back together while it's spiraling downwards on fire. And you have the other side taking the plane apart, taking the seats out, throwing the seats out, busting the windows out, while everyone else is just screaming bloody murder on their way down, knowing that they're going to hit the ground at any moment. That's what it feels like. And so when I seen that video on TikTok of the transgender flag being flanked by two American flags, in the middle, center mass on the White House, clearly violating flag code. And then when Joe Biden made that tweet on that official tweet from Joe Biden's Twitter account that essentially said that this is America, whether you like it or not, this is America and America is proud, or some stupid shit like that. Like, dude, that irks me to no end. And it really made me start thinking like how we got here. How did we get to where like we have dudes on the South Lawn shaking their tits and like this is considered progress? And I've been saying this from day one. The gay community, the LGBT community needs to drop the transgenders. You guys have to get these people out of your community because they are absolutely destroying it. And I want to know, when did the transgender colors end up on the rainbow flag? Like, when did that happen? How is this ideology, how is this transgenderism hijacked the LGBT community with almost like no say, like just overnight? It was just completely hijacked. And now you have a flag, the rainbow flag, and then right on top, of course it's got to be right on top, right? Right on top you have the transgender colors, which is like a brown, a pink. I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it stands for. Nobody does, because they're constantly adding numbers. They're constantly adding colors and letters. Like, this is bizarre, folks. It's truly bizarre. I remember during the gay rights movement, especially through the 90s, because that's kind of where I grew up. That, you know, I was born in 86, so I kind of grew up through the 90s. I remember the parades, walking the LGB parades when it was still called LGB, of gay couples holding hands and just walking down the street with the parades, with the people on both sides clapping and cheering. Most likely those were Democrats and progressives, and, you know, they were just smiling, walking down the street holding hands. Folks, we have dudes shaking their tits on the south lawn of the White House. Like, have we really declined this far this fast? Like, when did this hijacking happen? When did the transgenders hijack the gay community? I have no idea. So, any of my gay listeners out there, feel free to email me and let me know when all this happened. Because it just seems like it's absolutely destroying that community. The gay people, at least the gay people I know, they don't like this shit. They don't like being accused of grooming children. They don't like all the shit that's happening. They don't like transgender drag queens shaking their junk and shaking their tits in front of kids on stage. Like, they don't like this shit, man. And so it's just like, what the hell has happened, man? Like, when did all this go so far? And so that was one of the things that got me thinking, and how all this stuff is just accepted. Like, how is it that people honestly think that they were worse off under Donald Trump than they are now? Like, this is what blows my mind. And it's not, folks. They know it's not. But we are suffering from this. This mass portion of our population is suffering from doublethink. I remember reading you the term of what doublethink is. Doublethink is where you know something is true, but you deny it anyways. Like, and you have to deny it in order to keep up with the narrative, in order to stay in tune with the ideology that you're following. So, like, they know, like, flashing tits, dudes flashing their tits on the south lawn of the White House is bad. Like, they know that. But they have to say it's not bad, and they have to stick up for it because they have to support the narrative. And the narrative is transgenders and the grooming and the sexualizing of the kids. That's just gonna happen. That is what we're pushing for, folks. This is the stuff that they're pushing for. It is bizarre, it is weird, and it's leading to roads that we don't want to go down. I'm telling you it's leading to pedophilia is what it's leading to. You already see it in the works. Okay, I've kind of called this already years ago. I said next thing it's going to be bestiality, because there is no end to this type of ideology. There is no end to this doublethink, because if you can just deny that there's sex and genders, then people are just going to start saying that they identify as a dog. I mean, they're going to start identifying as 20 years old when they're 60 years old. It's a disconnect from fundamental truth is what this is. And all of this, and I'm telling you, I'm looking for somebody that I could talk to, a societal psychologist, so that I could talk to them, and I want to get answers to what is going on here. I really do, because there is certainly something going on. It's a societal contagion that is spreading, and all this wraps up into the same thing. It's so like Donald Trump's, this hatred for Donald Trump. It is like a societal contagion. It is like a fad, but it's a fad that just won't go away. It's like this objection of reality. Like, on paper, on record, on graph, mathematically, statistically, 8 out of 10 people were better under Donald Trump. Everybody feels it. Everybody knows it. But they can't say it. They can't admit it. They have to continue to say that Joe Biden is better and that what we're experiencing now is better, or else that means Donald Trump would make a better president in 2024. And they can't have that. So this doublethink, they have to believe the unbelievable in order to keep up with the narrative. That is what essentially it is in a nutshell. And so I wanted to go ahead and get into this audio clip with Nancy Mase, and we're going to go ahead and fact check it, because it kind of touches down on a lot of the core stuff that we're seeing now. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to play it. It's about 6 minutes long, and I'm going to stop in between, and we're going to try and verify some of the stuff that's coming out. All right, let's do this.
So much. I want to bring in South Carolina Republican Representative Nancy Mase. She worked on Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and in 2021 voted against impeaching Trump in relation to the Capitol assault, but she did not condemn his actions. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to ask you, did you read through the whole 49-page indictment?
I absolutely did. I try to educate myself on what's actually happening, but I have to be honest with you. And I'm someone, I've had my ups and downs with Donald Trump over the years. That's been very public, but I just can't get beyond the fact that the precedent for how we handle classified information was first set when the DOJ and the FBI decided not to indict Hillary Clinton, who had a private server, who had classified information on that server, who obstructed justice, wasn't even president, wasn't even a former president, but was going to be a presidential candidate. And that was the precedent that was set.
I've heard you
and
make this
today,
argument, Congresswoman.
I know, but then I see this today, and it really is shocking to me.
Yes, and I wanted to drill down on that because if you read the indictment, you notice that it mentioned the willful retention of documents. And so the distinction that has been made in the case of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump is the willful retention of documents, as is laid out, in a question of obstruction. That the president repeatedly was told about his actions and he repeatedly obstructed justice. You see any distinction there?
Well, I will say today, when I watch what's happening in this country, the FBI had access to all those boxes in every single room, and the precedent was set under Clinton that she would not be indicted. I think it's worthwhile to have a conversation about how we handle classified information post-presidency. I think that is a worthwhile debate because we want to protect our nation's secrets, okay? Precedent was set under Clinton. She had a private server. I can't think of anything more willful than hiding a server in your bathroom in your home. I can't think of anything more willful than using hammers on your own telephone, cell phone devices, and your iPads to obstruct justice and then to be let off. And so if that's...
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I want to get this out of the way right now. Hillary Clinton had classified emails on her private server in her bathroom. That is willful retention of classified documents. There is so many things wrong with this lie that the leftist media is trying to push. First of all, Hillary Clinton is not supposed to have classified emails on a private server in her bathroom, okay? So FBI Director James Comey said in a testimony before the House panel on July 7th, Comey described several statements made by Clinton on the campaign trail about her use of the server as not true. So essentially what she's saying was Hillary Clinton was saying, oh, it's not true, just like Joe Biden is saying right now, like his corruption is not true. You know, they play the plausible deniability routine and all that stuff. That's what corrupt politicians do. So, quote, this is Comey, quote, Clinton was wrong when she said she never sent or received classified information over the server. Quote, our investigation found 110 emails with then classified information that she either received or sent, end quote. So at least 110 classified emails were either received or sent from that private server in her bathroom. Having a private server is illegal. That is, I don't know, I guess you would probably call obstruction, because you're trying to evade the normal channels that you would share classified information through. Why do you have a private server in your bathroom? That's one. Number two, why does the Secretary of State have classified documents to begin with? She's not supposed to have classified documents, folks. She cannot declassify documents. Therefore, it's not possible for her to have classified documents outside of a secure, compartmentalized location, a SCIF. She's not supposed to have classified documents on her email server in her bathroom. This is something that is so bizarre that the left is trying to defend Hillary Clinton. The whole thing is here, folks, is they're trying to deflect from their corruption so that all the attention goes on to Trump. Hillary Clinton set the standard that she broke these laws. She was caught illegally retaining or willfully retaining emails, and nothing happened to her. That was the standard set by the Department of Justice. That was the standard set by the FBI. And so therefore, that is the standard that needs to carry on. Okay, this is a fact. This is a fact. I just read you James Comey's quote on a July 7th testimony to the House panel. I'll read you another comment. Quote, I don't think that our investigation established she was actually particularly sophisticated with respect to classified information and the levels and treatment, he testified. One of the things I learned in this case is that the secretary may not have been technically sophisticated as people assumed. That doesn't matter. Okay, that doesn't matter. That is essentially him saying, well, she did, but I don't think she really meant to. Okay, folks, but if the standard is there's nuances to the law, then there needs to be nuances to the law. Okay, if he's essentially saying she broke the law technically, but technically, we can kind of let this slide. Okay, well, then that's the standard you're setting. You can't go on 6 years down the road and apply a completely different standard to another person. Mind you, somebody that is allowed to have classified documents because he is the only one that can declassify documents. This is simple stuff, folks. If you just block out the hatred, if these people would just open their eyes, close their ears, and just look, this is a double standard. Period. And so if Donald Trump is going to get indicted for willfully retaining documents, then they need to go ahead and indict Hillary Clinton, indict Joe Biden, and indict Mike Pence. I'm not saying I want to indict Mike Pence. He's a Republican, but I'm just saying these are the standards you're setting if you're going after Donald Trump for willfully retaining documents. This is the new thing. And listen, folks, the left is going to constantly change this narrative. This is going to be an ever-changing narrative as time goes on and each of their theories gets debunked. Each of the theories gets smacked down by the consensus. They're going to come up with a new strategy. This is what the leftists do the best. This is how the left-wing media operates, and they are good at it. And you can tell because all the focus is on Donald Trump when really the focus should be on Joe Biden, who willfully retained documents. And that's exactly what Nancy Mase says right here. Check it out.
It's the standard, then it should apply to everyone, including Donald Trump.
But clearly you don't think that should be the standard. That's the argument that you're trying to make. So you believe that Hillary Clinton should be held to a different... You think Hillary Clinton should be held to a higher standard, and so then you must also agree, therefore, that Donald Trump should be held to that same high standard.
Aha, you see how she did that? These people are good, folks. They are good. I'm telling you, they got people talking into their ears. They have a little microphone in their ears from somebody behind the scenes telling them what to say. She said, you think Hillary Clinton should have been held to a higher standard. Nobody said anything about a higher standard. The reason why she says higher standard is because she wants people to think that if she's a high standard, then Donald Trump must be a really high standard because he was actually president. Not a high standard, folks. The same standard. Not lower, not higher. Justice is supposed to be equal. That is it. Justice is supposed to be blind, and justice is supposed to be equal. So the same standard applied equally to everyone. That's pretty simple, but she wants to go ahead and say, oh, well, you think Hillary Clinton should have been held to a higher standard, so therefore Donald Trump should have been held to an even higher standard. No. The same standard, folks. The same standard. That is it. Pretty simple stuff.
But that's not the standard, because under Hillary Clinton, she was let go. She was not indicted. She had classified documents on her server. They tried to obstruct it, and she was able to walk away. So if that's the standard, then you had Mike Pence, who had classified documents in his home. Then you had Joe Biden, who had classified documents spread across the country in different boxes, including unsecured in his garage. If Trump's going to be indicted, so too then should be Joe Biden. I also can't get beyond.
Yep, just like I said, there is no reason why that if you indict Donald Trump on this is what I'm saying. If this is the road they want to go down, and they indicted him already. But if this is something that they could pull off and convict Donald Trump for, then they're going to have to go back. They're going to have to indict Hillary Clinton. They're going to have to indict Joe Biden. And they're going to have to indict Mike Pence and anybody else that willfully retained classified documents. This is the standard they're setting. This is the Rubicon they have crossed, folks. This is the constitutional crisis the Democratic Party is putting this country through again. They do it again, and they'll do it again, and they'll do it again, because they are stuck in this societal trend that Donald Trump is so evil, he is so bad, that the Constitution is worth ripping up, that the standards are worth violating, that the law is worth applying unequally, that it is worth for Lady Justice to take off the blindfold. This is why it is so bad that the media brainwashed these people into thinking Donald Trump was worse than Hitler, okay? Because this is what you get. You have a entire portion of a population that is under the same mindset that the ends justifies the means. And that is not right, folks. That is not justice. That is un-American. And that is exactly the stuff of third world banana republic stuff, man. Third world banana republic countries. That's what you get when you start applying different standards for different people depending on which political affiliation you abide by. This is what I'm talking about. This is what's so dangerous, and I wish people would just see this, because you're walking this freaking country off of a cliff, all because your unquenchable thirst to have Donald Trump in prison, which, folks, it's not going to happen. My God, how many times have we been through this? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 8 years. These people have been trying to lock this guy up. And it is so bizarre to me when he gave these people the best country that they have seen in decades. It is so bizarre to me that the guy that gives them high inflation, high gas prices, war overseas, and just a freaking disaster, he's fine. We're going to protect him, but we're going to destroy the guy that gave us a great country, low inflation, low taxes, increased job, increased wages, no wars overseas, all the best stuff that you would want out of a country. They want to destroy. They want the opposite. This is what I call doublethink. This is exactly what this is, and it's spreading across our population like a cancer. Just like everything else that comes from this freaking left, man.
The fact that every time we find corruption, evidence of corruption on Joe Biden, Donald Trump gets indicted. I mean, that's what I see just as an everyday American, as someone who hasn't seen eye to eye with Donald Trump, and that's how we're going to operate. I don't think it's the right way, and I think it's shameful what's happening today.
Congresswoman, I understand you represent the 1st District of South Carolina, which is the suburban areas of north and east of Charleston,
Yep.
And you served on the Armed Services Committee, right? How many military members do you represent?
We have about half of all the bases.
How many members of the military?
I'd have to go back and look, but about half of all the bases in the state of South Carolina reside in the low country of South Carolina, the area that I represent.
How would you rate the importance of protecting those members who serve in the military that are in your district and in the state of South Carolina?
Protecting our national security should be a top priority.
See, these people could give 2 shits about the military members, folks. First of all, you have Joe Biden that was checking his watch as the caskets were rolling off of the back of the plane from Afghanistan, where his withdrawal turned into a complete debacle and got 13 soldiers killed. And he checked his watch in front of these people's parents, in front of these soldiers' parents, man. So don't sit there and tell me that they care so much about the military. Because these people were the same media outlets that were defending Joe Biden, trying to sit there and say that Joe Biden just had a lot of stuff on his mind and he had an important meeting on his mind. So they want to sit there and pretend like they care so much about the military while defending a guy that checks his watch as caskets of soldiers were rolling off the back of a plane. So don't give me that crap either. These people are so full of shit, man. I cannot even say it any clearer than that. I usually don't cuss on my shows, but these people are full of shit. They run on complete emotion. This was a talking point that I'm sure her and her producers tried to come up with right before doing this interview, and I'm glad Nancy Mase had a good objection to that. There was something else I wanted to add about the Hillary Clinton emails. So the intelligence community's inspector general had notified senior members of Congress that 2 emails that were randomly sampled from Clinton's server contained sensitive information that was later given a top secret classification, while 2 others contained classified information at the time they were sent. The emails with the information subsequently classified as top secret were forwarded to Clinton, according to the State Department. So there you go, folks. Just a random sample. So when you sit there and say, well, it's the number of documents, besides, they don't know how many top secret documents Trump had either. And Trump is irrelevant in all this because he's the president of the United States. He's allowed to have classified documents, unlike Hillary Clinton. So 2 random emails that were pulled out of the 33,000 emails or whatever she had. Just the 2 random ones they pulled, both were classified. And you're going to sit there and tell me that she didn't have that much classified information? Bullshit, folks. These people are such bullshitters, man. And it's time that people start calling these people out. That's exactly why I wanted to make this show, is so that people can get the truth, man. They are lying to you. You hear that? They are lying to you. They are creating a narrative so that they can deflect all the attention off of Joe Biden's corruption. This is why this is a giant distraction. It is no different from the 2 impeachments and all the congressional investigations and all the other shit that we've been having to deal with. Donald Trump is the most investigated frickin' person in history, man. And these people just will not stop. And you want to know where all the damage is coming from? It's coming from these people. Ever since 2016, when they couldn't accept the frickin' election, man, they couldn't accept that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton, and it's been it's search and destroy mission ever since. And this is no different. This is going to end the same way all the other investigations ended, the same way all the other impeachments ended, with these people lying to the American people so they can get their guy across the finish line, and then we're all screwed for another 4 years. Don't do it, folks. Do not fall for these people's bullshit anymore. You don't have to. You come to this show, you can go all to any other media outlet you want. You do not have to listen to these people. They are lying to you. They're trying to trick you. They've been doing it for years. Years and years. Trust me, I was one of them. I used to be a Democrat. I used to believe everything that these people said. I used to believe there was no corrupt bureaucracy in our nation's capital. I used to believe that everything was hunky-dory and that the presidents and all the politicians just had our best interests at heart. And then I woke up, folks. I grew up. I knew, I understood that there was fundamental truths, that things were objective. There is no way that this person, that Hillary Clinton, should not be indicted right now if they're indicting Donald Trump. Certainly with the narrative that this woman's pushing on CNN. Here, let's go back to Nancy Mase.
But Donald Trump is held to a different standard than our own president today by anybody else, and even Hillary Clinton, who was able to walk away by obstructing justice. And the Justice Department and the FBI said she did nothing wrong. So if that's the standard, then why is Donald Trump treated differently? At the end of the day, I think that's why or where the average American is going to see this headed. It's not the same standard to indict him but not indict anybody else. Now, I think we should protect our national secrets.
I also understand,
is
it true that
classified information that are unsecured, but Joe Biden had classified information in his garage, unsecured, sitting next to his Corvette, and God knows where else in this country. So he
And what was in those documents, folks? We don't know. We don't know, because the FBI called the Biden team early, let them know that they were coming over so they didn't have to do a raid. Did they give that same treatment to Donald Trump? No. There's a double treatment in everything that happens to Donald Trump. And I just pray to God that this judge sees this and throws this shit out before it even hits trial, because that's certainly what should happen. What this judge should come out and say is, stop it. Enough is enough. Stop coming after this guy like this. If you're going to be holding him to this standard, then you need to be going back and indicting all these other people. What were those classified documents in Joe Biden's garage, folks? What were they? We don't know. We don't know. Did they raid Joe Biden's house for those documents? No. What other documents are out there? We don't know. Apparently there's 1,800 boxes sitting at the Pence Center in Pennsylvania. This guy's got classified documents spewed out all over Delaware, and somehow he's not willfully holding on to classified documents? But folks, this is a clear and obvious double standard. There's just no way around it. So there's no way that this media is going to be able to get through this entire freaking trial by telling people that Donald Trump willfully retained classified documents and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton didn't. So I don't know what they're going to come up with, but I guarantee you the narrative is certainly going to change.
be indicted or be
Where is that information now?
Trump.
And Congressman, what happened to that information when it was revealed?
Hopefully it's been collected by
immediately
the government.
collected?
Right, but
that doesn't change the fact, folks. This is another lie that these people keep using to obfuscate from the obvious crimes of Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Oh, well, Joe Biden turned him over immediately. Folks, he wasn't supposed to have the damn things in the first place. He had documents since he was a senator. He had classified documents for years. You know, you have a cop comes up to you and says, "Oh, I didn't see a speed limit sign." What do you think is going to happen? He's going to give you a damn ticket, and he's going to say ignorance is no excuse to break the law. So Joe Biden willfully retaining documents, this is what I don't get. There's a special counsel appointed to Joe Biden. That is something that seems to be missing from this woman from CNN too, this leftist Pravda anchor. Joe Biden is under special investigation as well. So they act like Joe Biden is this innocent guy that has nothing to do with any of this, when it was Joe Biden that sicked his Justice Department on Donald Trump in the first place. As soon as they seen he was running for president, they sicked the Justice Department on him like a bunch of banana republic tyrants, man. This is the shit of totalitarian regimes, man. I wanted to add something else. So I got an article here from Business Insider dated September 2nd, 2016. The FBI. A Hillary Clinton aide destroyed 2 of Clinton's phones by breaking them in half or hitting them with a hammer. An aide to former President Bill Clinton destroyed 2 of Hillary Clinton's phones by using physical force, according to documents released by the FBI on Friday. What do you call that, folks? I call that obstruction of justice. Why would it be an obstruction of justice? Because those phones were subpoenaed, folks. They were subpoenaed 2 weeks before she destroyed them. So they were subpoenaed, she knew she was supposed to turn those phones over, and she had her aide smash them with the hammer. Why did she have her aide smash them with the hammer and not just her? I don't know, probably because she doesn't even know how to swing a hammer, because she's been in politics her entire freaking life, and these people don't even know how to pump their own gas, but she most of all told her aide to do it so that she could claim plausible deniability. Oh, I didn't know what was on those phones. Does everyone just smash their phones with hammers when they're done? Folks, this is so stupid that they're holding Donald Trump for these standards. So the leftist Pravda better come up with some better stuff than this, because this is awful. This is freaking awful. You guys remember her when she said, "Oh, did you bleach bit your server after it was subpoenaed?" Oh, what do you mean? Did you wipe your server? Oh, what, like with the cloth? Acting all dumb. This is plausible deniability. These people are corrupt. And if you're going to indict Donald Trump, you're going to have to go back and indict Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Mike Pence for the same stuff.
He had over
once they found out about it, they returned it.
Of information, including classified documents.
Doesn't matter.
So that's the standard. And I think Donald Trump's being treated unfairly here.
So I was asking you about your. I hear you. I was asking you about your district, though.
Oh, she was?
Talk about your district. I was asking you about your district.
Yes, and I answered
I understand.
your question,
so does your district include Joint Base Charleston?
All the bases, if you'd let me speak, I said about half of all the bases in South Carolina are in the low country of South Carolina. That I represent on the House Armed Services Committee. I've said it like 3 times now.
And how important is it to preserve
I don't know
nuclear?
If you can hear me or not.
How important? I am having a little trouble hearing you. Sorry, Congressman. It is quite loud here, so my apologies. How important is it in terms of safeguarding America's nuclear secrets?
I don't know. Ask Joe Biden. What did he have? What classified documents did he have in his garage next to his midlife crisis Corvette? I don't know. Ask him. Why is he not being asked any of these questions? Joe Biden, what classified documents did you have in your garage? What were those documents? Folks, I'm telling you, it's going to come out years from now, sooner or later, probably when we're all long gone, that the documents that he probably had in his garage were probably one of the most secretive classified documents one could probably have. And he probably had them in his garage because Hunter Biden was using them to peddle influence in different countries. That's how these people made millions of dollars from other foreign leaders. This is what happens when you have a corrupt bureaucracy and you have a corrupt administration, a weaponized justice system, and a complete failure for media.
It is very important. It is of the utmost importance to protect our nation's secrets, period.
And so if, as was alleged, there were documents that contain America's nuclear secrets in a storage room, in a bathroom, or in a ballroom, would that concern you?
Let me explain something to you, folks. These people have no idea what is in these documents. None. They have no idea. Why? Because they're classified, folks. Nobody even knew about these documents until the FBI started taking pictures of them and posting them on Twitter and leaking them to the media. So you tell me, who's being more irresponsible with classified documents? Donald Trump or the FBI that takes pictures of them and plasters them all over Twitter? I don't know. Seems like probably the FBI. And those pictures, folks, those were pictures of just boxes of papers. We don't know if there were classified documents. This is the media and the Justice Department and this corrupt administration all combining forces to take out Donald Trump before the American people can even vote for him. This is disgusting. This is the stuff of third world banana republics. This is the stuff that needs to be pointed out. And I pray to God the American people see this. I really do. And if you don't, then I am sorry, but you need to not vote. I'm sorry. You just need to not vote. I don't know how else to say this, but if you cannot tell that this is an obvious double standard, if you cannot tell that this is a weaponized justice system, when you've sat and watched for the last 8 years, the Justice Department, 2 impeachments, I don't know how many, 4 congressional investigations, spying, the Durham report that comes out, the FBI illegally spied on his campaign. I mean, what has to happen in order for people to say, yeah, this isn't good? Seriously, at what point? When they start doing it to Joe Biden? Is that when these people are going to come out and start objecting to the weaponization of the FBI and the Justice Department? Probably. But we don't have time for that, folks. That's most certainly going to happen eventually, because that's how totalitarianism works. Eventually, the lion comes for you when there's no more food. So look, these people better wake up, and I'm sorry. If you cannot see this as an obvious weaponization, then I don't know what else to tell you. So the FBI said in a report that the aide, Justin Cooper, recalled, quote, 2 instances where he destroyed Clinton's old mobile phones by breaking them in half or hitting them with a hammer. Okay, that is a fact that is on Business Insider, so that's not obstruction, folks. Not obstruction. You're going to destroy subpoenaed evidence, but that's not obstruction. We're just going to let her go. We're just going to let her go. All right, so on May 3rd, 2016, website The Washington Free Beacon published an article provocatively titled, Clinton Campaign Made Payments to Hard Drive and Document Destruction Company. Subtitled, Payments Could Have Been Purchased Destruction of 14 Hard Drives. So she paid a hard drive and document destruction company to destroy 14 hard drives. The article reported that Hillary Clinton campaign made payments totaling $187 to a document destruction company called American Document Destruction, Inc. in February and March of 2016. When was that, folks? When was that? That was, right after the election, wasn't it? Wasn't that right after the election? I wonder why she was destroying hard drives. Why do you think that is? Probably because she didn't win the election, and she knew that all this stuff was coming for her. And so she started freaking out, smashing phones, deleting emails, wiping bleach-bidding hard drives, and paying document destruction companies $187 to destroy subpoenaed evidence. This is disgusting, folks. This is a clear double standard, and I just hope the American people see it, man. I really do. I really do. You can go up. This is what's crazy. This is why it's important to have a press, a honest press. We do not have it. This is why half of our population are stupid to all this stuff. This is why half of our population are completely blind to what is happening right now in our country with Donald Trump. So it's like everybody is perfectly fine weaponizing our justice system because the media is trying to cover for it. Why? So that they can get their bloodthirst, man. So that they can get their unquenchable thirst for Donald Trump quenched. And then Hillary was joking, and she said, you may have seen that I recently launched a Snapchat account. She said, I love it. Those messages disappear all by themselves. This is the stuff that Hillary Clinton is coming out and saying, folks. Like, she is openly and in your face mocking you. These people that are sitting here defending Hillary Clinton and because they have to hate Donald Trump. She is mocking these people by saying, I love Snapchat because those messages disappear all by themselves. My God, folks, my God. You guys ever heard of the term caught red-handed? So this phrase originated from a Scottish law dating back to the 15th century, and it stated that anyone caught with blood on their hands after committing a crime was presumed guilty. Folks, I don't, that's a better justice system than we have right now, folks. We have a justice system now where you have blood on your hands and it's like the crime never happened. This is what we're dealing with, folks. This is what we're dealing with. So I have a whole timeline. I'm not even going to be able to get into this. I have a timeline of Joe Biden's classified documents here from PolitiFact. So the Joe Biden classified documents timeline, when were files found? So President Joe Biden said he had no regrets about not disclosing before November midterm elections the discovery of classified documents at Washington, D.C. office he occupied after his vice presidency. This is what pisses me off. This is why the American people are getting screwed right now. So when you're having to decide whether you're filling your tank up with gasoline or getting groceries for your kids, you can sit here and you can thank this corrupt media for helping get this guy across the finish line by lying to the American people and helping Joe Biden lie and get out of his lies to get him across the finish line. They knew about these documents. The FBI, the Justice Department, the Bidens, the media, they all knew that Joe Biden had classified documents all over Delaware before the election. But when did they do this, folks? After the election. Because they couldn't have the American people know that Joe Biden had classified documents in his garage. And when do they issue a special counsel for Joe Biden? That's after they send a SWAT raid over to Donald Trump's home. Then they give Joe Biden they give Joe Biden's attorneys a call on the phone. Hey, just to let you know, we're coming by. We're just gonna make sure you ain't got no documents, just the usual routine. NARA's just giving us a hard time, so we want to just come by and pick up those documents. No SWAT team, no raid, early morning raid. What were those documents is what I want to know. And did they destroy any? Did the Biden lawyers that went over there with the FBI, did they destroy any documents? I don't know, folks, because we have such a corrupt FBI and a corrupt Justice Department and a corrupt president and administration. I don't know anymore. These people cannot be trusted with anything. And people shouldn't trust these people. They shouldn't trust the FBI. They shouldn't trust the Justice Department. And which is sad, folks. People used to want to help the FBI. I certainly did. If the FBI came knocking on my door, I'd probably be pretty proud if they asked me for help. Now I'd slam the door in their face. I'd tell them to get off my property. I ain't saying nothing. Come back with a warrant. This is what happens. This is what happens. This is the America Democrats gave to you. So I ask you, is Donald Trump a threat to the people, or is Donald Trump a threat to the system? I'm going to say Donald Trump's a threat to the system. Because Donald Trump didn't do anything to me. I didn't see Donald Trump do anything to anybody in this country that would warrant a treatment like this. This man does not deserve this, man. He does not deserve to be treated like this. The guy gave you and gave us the best country we've seen in decades. And we repay him by trying to send him to prison for the rest of his life? This is disgusting. This is so un-American, man. It is so sad. It is so, it's infuriating to see this. This is how we repay somebody that gave up his billionaire lifestyle, that didn't have to do this, come in, gave us a great country, and then when the swamp, the establishment that's been holding you down for decades, goes after him, you help him, and you support the system. You support the establishment. It's like now Democrats and the leftists are pro-establishment now. When I was a Democrat, we hated the establishment. We hated the FBI. Now these people are they're like swamp creatures themselves. It's just so bizarre. This is that doublethink, folks. This is doublethink. It is denialism, and doublethink has infested millions of people in our population, where they have to actively and knowingly lie to themselves in order to support a narrative. So they have to sit there and say that the country wasn't doing good under Donald Trump so that they can say it's doing better now under Joe Biden. That's a doublethink. This is the crazy stuff I'm talking about. They have to sit there and say that the corrupt Washington establishment, the bureaucracy, like the FBI and the Justice Department, they're not corrupt anymore. They're not corrupt anymore. They have to believe that, because they also need these same people to go after Donald Trump. Because if they admit that the Justice Department and the FBI are a corrupt establishment, then they would have to admit that they are being weaponized against Donald Trump, or even the possibility of it being weaponized against Donald Trump. So this is why they have to lie to themselves that the FBI and the Justice Department and the entire corrupt establishment that they hated their entire lives is now all of a sudden great, honorable, a trustworthy system. They have to believe that because they need that system to go after Donald Trump. This doublethink, I'm telling you, folks, is going to drive this freaking country right off a cliff. I want to go ahead and play the rest of this Nancy Mase audio. It's actually kind of funny. They're like, oh, what? I can't hear. Sorry, I couldn't hear you because she just got smoked.
It would absolutely concern me that, again, the FBI had access to those documents, they had access to those boxes, and they had access to all those rooms as well.
That's true. The FBI did absolutely have access to the documents whenever they wanted. In fact, from the reports that I was reading, Donald Trump's lawyers and the FBI and the archives were actually communicating quite a bit. And then out of nowhere, they stopped. They stopped returning Donald Trump's lawyers' calls. They stopped communicating, and then they just raided the next time. They stopped for like 3 months, and then they just all of a sudden raided one morning. How much, you guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. This is what's happening. Donald Trump wanted all the documents of the FBI and this corrupt system being weaponized against him in Crossfire Hurricane. That's the documents he wanted. He wanted to keep those documents for himself so that he could use them for his presidential race right now. Because he wanted to show to the American people just how corrupt this system was. And the Biden administration approved a raid on Donald Trump's home to get those documents back. The Biden administration is going to sit there and lie to your face and tell you they don't know anything about it. But Joe Biden had to sign off on removing the executive privileges from Donald Trump just so they can go over there and raid his home to get those documents. This is what's happening, folks. You're being lied to, man. If you're listening to this and you don't realize that you're being lied to, you're being lied to. Joe Biden's lying to you. Merrick Garland's lying to you. Jack Smith is lying to you. The media is lying to you. All these people are lying to you. You live in a fake reality right now. And unfortunately, your reality is extremely damaging to this country. And quite frankly, it's unsustainable. This situation, folks, this environment that the Democratic Party has put us in is unsustainable. It is going to lead to the destruction of our great republic. It absolutely will. You will watch this constitutional republic go up in flames. This thing will be nothing but burnt rubble by the time the Democratic Party gets done with it. Because they cannot let Donald Trump win because they know he will come after the corrupt system. And he absolutely should be. And everybody sees it. And I'm telling you, I see this on my own. I see it in regular Americans. They know that the system's corrupt because they have been abused by that same system before. They know the system's corrupt because anyone that's not living in this Orwellian 1984 novel, they realize that the system has always been corrupted, that the FBI has always been corrupted, all the way back to when they tried talking Martin Luther King Jr. into killing himself. The FBI has always been corrupted. So is the Justice Department, so is the White House, so is all of it. The entire system is corrupted, folks. And these people know it because they've always known it. And it's going to be pretty hard for the Biden administration, this corrupt administration, to talk people out of that. It's going to be pretty hard to try and convince the people that Joe Biden didn't just weaponize the Justice Department to come after his political opponent. They know Donald Trump is going to win this election, folks. That is why they are doing things they normally wouldn't do. That is why they are willing to burn it all just to get Donald Trump out of the election before you could vote for him, because they know Donald Trump is going to get more votes than any president in U.S. history, because people see right through this bullshit, man. They see right through it. And I'm telling you, if they do not get Donald Trump off of that ballot, they know he's going to win, and their bullshit is over, folks. Their run is over. Their crusty, corrupted hands on the levers of power is over. No more. And they know it, and you know this, and Comey even said this.
You said that Trump poses a near existential threat to the rule of law. And this is something, similar language that I hear privately from national security officials, some people you and I both know, who will say this privately about what a second term could mean. But tell me a little bit about the specifics of what he could try to do. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list.
They know that they're not going to be able to convince the American people that Donald Trump is a threat to the American people because there's no evidence of that, folks. Because the entire time the guy was president, it was nothing but prosperity and peace around the world. So they're going to have a hard time convincing the American people that this America, that Joe Biden's America, the Democrats' America, is better. They're going to have a hard time because it's not, folks. And you would have to be living in a completely Orwellian world to think this administration is better than the last. You can't. There's no way you can do that because it's not. It's a lie. They're lying to you. All of it's just a big freaking lie. So I rambled on long enough. I just wanted people to know that you're not alone. Everybody sees the double standard that's being laid out here, and I certainly think there's going to be plenty of motions put forth to this judge. This judge already ordered in Trump's favor in Miami with the special master during the documents, and of course Jack Smith is not going to. Supposedly they want him to go judge shopping, which that's not going to look good. But as long as Donald Trump just needs a fair, unbiased judge. That is it. Because all this is going to lay on to the Constitution. The Democratic Party, this corrupt administration and this corrupt system has put this country into a constitutional crisis. And that's what we're getting ready to walk into. So I ask you, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I highly doubt it. So that's all I got for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys got any questions, just get a hold of me at StephenTaurielloShow@gmail.com. Again, I'm going to leave all my research materials in my podcast description so you guys can go look back and read all of it. There's certainly a lot more stuff I didn't read. I just read you just paragraphs from the articles about Hillary Clinton's emails. And again, Joe Biden's timeline that I have right here. I wasn't able to get to, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it next episode because it's long. Trust me. I wanted to get into Joe Biden's timeline of his classified documents, and I wanted to get into the timeline of Joe Biden's, I wanted to get into the timeline of Donald Trump's documents, classified documents. One of them was president, folks, and one of them was not. One of them was supposed to have classified documents, and one of them was not. So, look. What you're witnessing certainly is a weaponization of the United States government. They are all guns blazing right now. They know they have to stop Donald Trump or their run is over. So again, you can get a hold of me at StephenTaurielloShow@gmail.com. As always, thank you guys for tuning into the show. I always get worked up when I talk about this stuff because it's so obvious to me. And it frustrates me that people can't see it. I think they see it. They're not allowed to admit the truth, folks. They know that if they admit the truth again, they participate in doublethink. They know if they admit the truth, then everything that they believed in the last 8 years was all for nothing. So, I'm going to leave the documents. I'm going to leave the articles of my podcast episode. I think next episode, we're going to get into some cool sciencey stuff. There's some crazy stuff happening in China with this IVG, this IVG science, this technology that they're using now, where essentially they can get eggs and sperm from blood, which is crazy. And China is actually using it on monkeys. So they're essentially, they're essentially making human monkeys is what I'm reading. So I got a lot more to read up on it. I got a lot more to read up on the technology itself, and you could see where this is obviously going to lead. You're talking about human clones. So probably not going to be very good when you have the leader of the Chinese Communist Party making little clones of himself, making little mini-me's, making little mini-commies over there in China. So that's not going to be good. And just think of all the craziness that's going to, again, science doesn't know when to stop, folks, doesn't know when to stop. And that's something else we're going to get into. There was a report that was brought out, I think the OAG report, which essentially, it confirms everything that we already knew, is that the coronavirus leaked from a lab in Wuhan. So, which I think that's not a big surprise to any of us, but we actually knew this day was going to come out, and I absolutely are going to drill on these people about this, because look at the hell they put us through for those 3 years, 4 years, and you still have people out there wearing masks. It's weird. They, again, created some kind of societal it's like it's a social contagion, folks. The mask thing was a social contagion. They controlled people by using mass fear tactics, and that's exactly what they seen. I think it was a test run for something much, much more, well, let's just say malicious in the future. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. A whole lot of stuff to get into. I just wanted to cut this content out real quick, do a quick live episode for you because I wanted to get something out. I didn't have a lot of time, so I just wanted to leave it to one subject instead of getting into all these things. And then I would have to have all these notes and different articles and so on and so forth. I was already reading up on the Biden classified documents and the Hillary Clinton stuff. I was already been researching that for the last few days. So I just pulled a couple articles and read it. So just to get you guys the exact quotes. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you shared the show with your friends and family, tell them to follow the show. I would really appreciate that. And also, if you could, tell them to give me a 5-star review. They could leave a review. And let me know how the show's going. Let me know what you guys think of the show. I have something kind of special coming up in maybe the next few episodes that I have somebody working on for me. And it's going to be like a cool little contest. It's going to be a new intro sound. It's going to be a new intro song. And I'm going to play both of them. And you guys tell me which one you like. And then that's the one we're going to stick with. I personally like the new one, but I don't know. The show's for you guys, not me. So you guys tell me which one you like better, and then we'll go ahead and keep it. Or maybe we'll use both. I don't know. But hopefully the show's getting better. If not, let me know. If it is, let me know. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into. It's actually pretty exciting. I got so much stuff I want to talk to you guys about. So much stuff on my mind. I've been researching and studying stuff for many, many years, folks, and I have a lot of stuff to give you, and it just sucks that, all this crazy stuff is happening that I feel like it holds priority over the really cool stuff. And it does, because this is important times. Because listen, if this country falls off a cliff, there's nowhere else to run, folks. And so I won't be talking about cool sciencey stuff with you anyways. So that's all I got for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a good day. Have a great week. God bless you, and God bless America. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.